How you all doing? I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report. I am Malcolm X. No. It's Tuesday, April 19th, 2022 AD. Anno Domini. That is the year of our Lord. And let's have the Hake Report. Described by Asmodor as reading the news from a Christian alpha male perspective. Not calling myself an alpha male, just presenting an alpha male perspective, hopefully, right? Nice. And so tune in. It is 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time. Did I say that already? Here in Los Angeles. Hake rummaging through the goodwill of CD bins. Yes, I do have more Frog Eyes for you. It's a very short song that I will be playing. Oh, I forgot to drag the, guess it's not important. I forgot to drag the clip into the folder. Anyway, we're going to have a fun Tuesday show, guys. By the way, Women's Forum, third Thursday of the month, 7 p.m. at Bond. I was telling the people offline who are listening on the audio feed, rebuildingtheman.com/events. I am wearing my beautiful Southern t-shirt. Shout out to the beautiful South. This was made, screen printed, I assume, or printed by an artist on Amazon, and I bought it on Amazon. And then shortly after, JLP wanted it one, and I couldn't get it for him because Amazon banned them. What a shame, huh? Amazon hates the beautiful South, the whites. Amazon is evil, anti-American. But I'm going to talk about Disney today, even more, yes, more about Disney, just to remind you what's going on and to play some clips that I know I have not played from their little meeting that they had, their Reimagine Tomorrow campaign, pushing the gay agenda, the LGBTIQ agenda on the children. It's so evil. So just to present what's going on, some of it's quite interesting, the stuff that they do. That mask mandate struck down. Isn't that nice? And some gays were called out for adopting. They were called groomers. And the far left anti-child NBC News covered it. It was in an Amtrak incident. I don't. We'll find out about it together. And Libs of TikTok got doxxed by the Washington Compost. Is that fair play or no? Is it fair play or no to dox Libs of TikTok? So evil. Good versus evil in the world, right? In some cases, it's evil versus evil. And all of that and your calls, you can call in. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Here we go!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
So, how are you guys doing? I am fine. And yes, I am wearing the beautiful, is it the Confederate flag or the Rebel flag or the beautiful Southern flag? I hear that it is a Christian flag on my t-shirt. I figured, you know what, it's time. I had no other t-shirt to wear. Not that they were dirty. None of my t-shirts are dirty. But I felt like I had worn everything else too recently. I sometimes scroll through my thumbnails to see what I've worn. But anyway, yeah, I got this on Amazon. Amazon quit selling it, and I contacted the artist directly. Artist, it's what he called himself. To purchase it directly from him, and he's all, I'm not selling those anymore. And it was after the Dylan Roof. What did he do? He shot up the black church because he realized that black on white crime is far more prevalent than white on black. And he's like, what's going on? I keep on hearing all this racism stuff. By the way, like one of his best friends was black. He grew up in the South, I think. And he flew. He was seen on camera at one point. Like he took a picture of himself with a Confederate rebel flag. The beautiful South. It's a symbol of love, by the way. But the hate-filled people, such as Ta-Nehisi Coates, went after it. I've told this story many times. Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's too cowardly to come on the JLP show, propped up by the mainstream media, the Hollywood types. There was a scene in like, what is Equalizer 2 or something like that, where Denzel Washington plays this like Muslim guy, and he's on a train and he's reading Ta-Nehisi Coates, this Black Panther dumb guy, or son of a Black Panther dumb guy, who brainwashes his kid to believe that racism is real and blacks are victims. Give me a break. What a coward. What a lame person. And he's reading his book, Between the World and Me. Oh, this is so deep. And all these Hollywood types read these lame books. They'll read Michelle Alexander, another light-skinned black female radical ACLU driving while black propagandist, married to a lawyer/liar black guy who was in Obama's administration, I think, some attorney. And then she started becoming a professor and wrote this book, Oh, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. And the headline of the book was the title of the book was The New Jim Crow. And it's a bunch of phony propaganda. JLP interviewed her way back before I was producer. I was just a lowly listener. Actually, and then I became a lowly producer. But I was a listener of his show. And yeah, that's out there on the YouTube channel. She's like, you guys are racist. Dumb woman. I wonder who was producer at that point. Maybe it was the Fallen State producer, or maybe it was JLP's PR guy or somebody. But yeah, reading. Give me a break. I'm shaking my head. It's disgusting. So these people are sick. It's a bunch of white haters who are going after the beautiful Confederate American monuments and heroes, some of whom were so humble, like General Robert E. Lee, that, man, I'm going on a rant about this, that Robert E. Lee did not even want a monument to him. That's how humble he was. That makes him all the more honorable, right? I'm chuckling because somebody said, Hake said he got a stent. Yeah, my friend told me I had a stent, but I stopped the polyester and I stopped exercising. That shouldn't be funny. But anyway, guys, yes, love the beautiful South. Don't hate the beautiful South. Shout out to the beautiful South. Shout out to the Facebook crew. I'm live on Odyssey as well. Nice to see you guys. Let me get right into these Disney clips. Just plow through them for you. They're pretty horrific, horrifying. I've played this one that you're about to hear. Let me click this. I played this one clip that you're about to hear already, at least once, or at least in part. This is from the Daily Mail, and it's not from them. They're just amplifying the message or sharing the message. Christopher Rufo, who is this anti-CRT guy, he's involved in the propaganda in education, in the education world. He's on Fox News all the time, perhaps like a normie, perhaps not completely straight morally in that he will I think he might have congratulated the gays for adopting. What a shame. But anyway, the Daily Mail reports Carrie Burke, who is the general entertainment president, according to them, of Disney. Oh, no clips? Is there anything in my folder? Here, let me just see. There's just pics. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to transfer them. What a mess. Non-typical, unprepared Hake. But anyway, let me go through, let me just read off these names. I have the pictures of one of these people, or the picture of one of these people. Carrie Burke is the woman who said, I I have two so-called queer children, and so this is important to me. She's 55 years old, and whoa, let's see. Okay, she's 55 years old, and I think, according to the media that I've looked into. Okay, now it's in the folder. Should be. And she had this company-wide Zoom call called Reimagine Tomorrow campaign. And that's that one where they want to increase by like 50% or something like that. How much representation they push the gay stuff in their children's cartoons and movies. Because let's face it, no grown adult wants to watch Disney stuff. Disney's like shallow. There's not much to it, especially now. Kind of vapid, empty. And so it's not just her. I'm going to play Nadine Smith, who's the black female co-founder of Equality Florida. She said the goal of the Republican bill is to take children away from their parents. That's talk about accusing us of what you're doing. Ridiculous. But in some cases, yeah, if you're an evil parent, an evil mother, for example, or father, I suppose, but usually you don't see fathers going along with this, or at least pushing this, who's pushing your child to be transgender. Mothers will do that sometimes, misguided mothers. Vivian Ware is a diversity and inclusion woman whom I mentioned before, white-looking woman. I don't know if she's a normal white, and I'm not even sure if she's actually a woman. You know, you can't tell these days. They call that passing. And there's another black female, Disney television animation executive producer LaToya Raveneau, said everyone supported her not at all secret gay agenda. And I'm going to play you the clip. It's even worse than what that sounds like. So, do you have the stuff now? Yes. Okay, let me play clip A before I get to calls. Here's Carrie Burke, Karey. She's married to this guy, Duggan, Duggan. According to what I read, has like 5 kids and 2 of them are, well, listen to this woman.
I'm here as a mother of 2 queer children, actually, one transgender child, and one pansexual child, and also as a leader. And that was the thing that really got me, because I have heard so much from so many of my colleagues over the course of the last couple of weeks, in open forums and through emails and phone conversations. And I feel a responsibility to speak, not just for myself, but for them, to all of us. We had an open forum last week at 20th where, again, the home of really incredible, groundbreaking LGBTQIA stories over the years, where one of our execs stood up and said, you know, we only have a handful of queer leads in our content. And I went, what? That can't be true. And I realized, oh, it actually is true. We have many, many, many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads and narratives in which gay characters just get to be characters, and not have to be about gay stories. And so that's been very eye-opening for me. And I can tell you, it's something that I feel perhaps had this moment not happened, I, as a leader, and me as my colleagues, would not have focused on. And going forward, I certainly will be more so. I know that we will be, and I hope this is a moment where
she's crying.
Shoot, the 50% of the tears, sorry, are coming. We just don't allow each other to go backwards. What
a psycho, huh? And she, again, I mentioned this before, like a week or 2 ago when I first played that clip of her. She's all LGBTQIA, all like unironically. What a mess. How embarrassing. Narratives, characters, just get to be characters. She said it's eye-opening. That's not eye-opening. Let me plow through this, guys. Disney partner Nadine Smith, a black female co-founder of Equality Florida. She's on this Zoom call, Reimagine Tomorrow. Sick. She said the goal, she's making accusations about, this one is pretty interesting to me. She said that the Republican bill or the Republicans in Florida want to take children from their parents. Listen to this.
But the context is also who is pushing it, what their record is, and what the history is in Florida. You know, you can go back to the 50s, to the Johns Committee, where the legislature was actively put together a task force whose whole job was to root out civil rights workers and any homosexuals in the university system. They destroyed lives. Literally, people committed suicide behind the relentless attack. And then you have Anita Bryant, and many of us are of an age to remember Anita Bryant's Save Our Children campaign, which was premised on the same ideas that undergird this bill. And because of her campaign that equated being gay with being a child predator, she was able to pass a ban on gay people being able to adopt, a marriage ban, and then she took that nationwide. And so when we react to this, a lot of us are reacting from the pain we experienced of being isolated and stigmatized in school. But we're also reacting from the reality that when they can erase you, when they can criminalize your existence, when they can demonize who you are, the next step is to criminalize you and take your kids. And we're already seeing that in Texas. So the slippery slope between these ugly messages, emanating from legislative leaders in our state, and then amplified by our governor, whose spokesperson immediately began calling everyone who opposed this bill groomers, AKA pedophiles.
Wow. DeSantis' spokesman, according to her, called them all groomers. Isn't that rich? This black female co-founder of Equality Florida, talking about the history. It's history that probably a lot of us don't even know. Play it on double speed. Hey, this is nasty. Nugget Man doesn't like me covering this stuff so much. I know, man. But the 50s Johns Committee rooting out so-called civil rights workers and any homosexuals in what? Like, was that the anti-communism stuff? It might have been like the anti-communism stuff. Or just anti-vulgarity. We used to have obscenity laws, right? And they're pushing this stuff now. They're out in the open trying to push the Christians into the closet. But they're still reacting as though they're still oppressed, as if they ever were oppressed. Destroyed lives. People committed suicide over this, she says. First of all, you commit suicide, that's your fault. Even when they supposedly drove that J6 protester. Remember that January 6th protester who committed suicide? Many people have committed suicide, and it's wrong that they went after him so badly, but he's weak for committing suicide. Anita, you guys ever heard of Anita Bryant's Save Our Children campaign? Back when I guess she, according to this woman, equated gays with child predators. Well, I think that they're probably overrepresented compared to their share of the population for that, is my guess. It's my guess. But they've made it so taboo to even mention that they want to pretend like the straights are the ones doing it, or the Christians are the ones doing it. You see that they're going after the Catholics, the Catholic priests. When the Catholic priests, we've covered it before, and that guy who's dead, he was a great comedian, pointed out that public school teachers are more likely to target children and minors than the Catholic priests. She's reacting to being stigmatized. They erase you, criminalize your existence, demonize you for who you are. That's not who you are. That's what you got into. You're lost. Right? Ugly messages. This woman is putting out ugly messages. Very interesting clip, though, because she knows her version of history, right? Such sick lies. I would love to hear what the I would love to hear what the resident historians have to say, like correcting the record on these people. Anyway, here's this Vivian Ware woman. This is this purportedly white female, like sort of brownish, reddish-haired woman, short-haired, diversity and inclusion person over at Disney. These are all Disney people, and you tell me they don't have a gay agenda. She's white-looking. She looks like a short-haired, slightly older woman, but she sounds sort of like mannish. So it makes me wonder what's really going on. And then I'll get to calls, guys. I just want to plow through these last three more clips. Here's Vivian Ware. Listen to this.
Last summer, we removed all of the gendered greetings in relationship to our live spiels. So we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've provided training for all of our cast members in relationship to that. So now they know it's hello everyone or hello friends. We are in the process of changing over those recorded messages. And so many of you are probably familiar when we brought the fireworks back to the Magic Kingdom. We no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we say dreamers of all ages. And so I love the fact that it's opened up the creativity, the opportunity for our cast members to look at that. We have our cast members working with merchandise, working with food and beverage, working with all of our guest facing areas where perhaps, we want to create that magical moment with our cast members, with our guests. And we don't want to just assume because someone might be in our interpretation, maybe presenting as female, that they may not want to be called princess. So let's think differently about how do we really engage with our guests in a meaningful and inclusive way that makes it magical and memorable for everyone.
Gross. What a gross use of the word magical, right? Doesn't it just make it sound dirty, inappropriate, perverted? Doesn't it? Magical moment. We don't want to assume just because someone who in our interpretation may be presenting as female, these people don't live in like reality. This is women in charge. Okay, here's the last one. It's another black female, so it'll be a little bit more entertaining. That woman had like a southern accent almost. What a shame. Not all Southerners are beautiful on the inside. I'd argue that more are than the Yankees. But anyway, here's Disney television animation executive producer LaToya Ravenue said everyone supported her not at all secret gay agenda. That's the quote that I've been repeating over and over again. But what she says is even more like explicit. This is the other black woman. Listen to this.
Love Disney's content. I grew up watching, all of the classics. They have been a huge, informative part of my life. But at the same time, I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you hear whispers. I'd heard things like, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little sus when I started. But then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard. On my little pocket of Proud Family Disney TVA, the showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. And so I feel like I felt like it was, maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess something must have happened in the last, they are turning it around, they're going hard. And then all that momentum that I felt, that sense of, I don't have to be afraid to let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background. I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to if you see anything queer in the show, I'm Proud Family. But I just was no one would stop me and no one was trying to stop me.
Gross, huh? I don't have to be afraid to have these two characters kiss, or any time I could put in queerness, I did, and nobody was stopping me. The showrunners were welcoming. Meredith Roberts, whoever that is, welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. I was a little sus. You're a lot sus, woman. You're worse than sus. You're explicitly vulgar and evil, right? Man, my experience. Man, crazy. That's gross. Let's listen to a male. Let's listen to a man. Here's Ron DeSantis. I think that this may have taken place before their little disgusting meeting happened. Here's Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida And you may have your disagreements with him. You may not be on board with everything he's about. But isn't this going to be somewhat refreshing? Here's Ron DeSantis. I think this is when he's signing the parental rights and education bill. They call it the Don't Say Gay bill. Protecting the children from the gay agenda and the transgender agenda. Here he is, going after Disney.
For Disney to come out and put a statement and say that the bill should have never passed and that they are going to actively work to repeal it, I think, one, was fundamentally dishonest, but two, I think that crossed the line.
Yep.
This state is governed by the interests of the people of the state of Florida. It is not based on the demands of California corporate executives. They do not run this state. They do not control this state.
Thank you, Ron DeSantis. But anyway, on top of all that, thank you for the suffering, Hake. I feel much more at peace now. Not. I know, Nugget Man, I know. The South is rising. Yes, indeed. Does Florida count as the South? Some of it does. On top of that, it's just right versus wrong. He's signing some bill that's kind of right. It doesn't go far enough, in my opinion. It should be K through 12. You can't be pushing this disgusting stuff. You know, Bill Clinton enacted this don't ask, don't tell policy in the military where gays could be in the military. You just won't ask, and you won't tell, and then so we won't kick you out. Just keep it in the closet. Well, that's encouraging them to be in the military. And then Obama made it worse. Before they weren't allowed. Then Obama made it worse by repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Yeah, you can be open in the military. LGBT mess in the military. So he made it from bad to worse. It should be ask, tell, boot, or just, can't be all effeminate over there. It's the military, for crying out loud. Ask, tell, reprogram, says Nick. A drag queen. Okay, anyway, let me get to some calls here, guys. It's 9:28 over here. First, let me get to Mr. Mad, a first-time caller in Chicago, wants to talk about my modern-day debate appearance, which I talked about Disney with Fanatiq. Shout out to Modern Day Debate and Fanatiq. Mr. Mad in Chicago, first-time caller. How are you?
What's up, James?
Hey.
How's it going? No, I just wanted to congratulate you. I caught that debate over the weekend, and you did a really good job.
Cool, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for checking it out.
Yeah. Matter of fact, even my girl was agreeing with you, everything you were saying.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's a find.
That's how, huh?
I said that's a find. To find a girl like that who actually agrees with some common sense.
Right. But no, you did a great job. Fanatiq. You could see he wanted to curl up and fold.
Yeah. Poor guy.
It was good, man.
He hated to agree with me because he agreed with me on like some of the basics, but he hated to because I sound so extreme to him because he has like this mama version of Christianity.
I agree with you 100%. I think he just was debating for the sake of debating,
Yeah. He was not the guy who was supposed to debate me. The guy who was supposed to be debating me was this guy named Joe Lewis. But Fanatiq filled in for him. Joe Lewis. No. Well, I don't know. Duma Damu.
Okay.
Duma Damu's Twitch streamer guy. But he wasn't able to make it. So he found Fanatiq to fill in for him, whom I've talked with before. Fanatiq's been on The Fallen State, actually.
Right. I remember seeing his interview on The Fallen State. And didn't he... Oh, he was probably on a debate, too, as well, right?
He was on my show once, and then he hosted a debate between me and Destiny, between Destiny and some girl and me, some woman and me, about J6.
Okay,
stuff.
yeah, I think I remember him being on your show, if anything.
Yeah, I brought him on.
On a call or something,
I brought him on like in December, I think, because I was playing "Suffering and the Hideous Thieves." I remember playing "Amazing Grace," like this 12-minute song by Jeff Suffering of 90 Pound Wuss. Anyway, yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in. It's real Mr. Mad.
It's the real Mr. Mad. Yeah.
Nice. You've called into Nick's stream too, haven't you, or no?
Yeah. I've actually only called Nick. I tried getting on JLP this morning, but it is what it is. I'm at work most of the time. This is my vacation week, so I never get a chance to call or chat or anything like that during the weeks. That's why I was able to get in with Nick on the weekends because I'm not at work. But yeah, man, cool talking with you. Keep playing what you're playing, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Mad. Good to hear from you from Chicago, Illinois.
Man,
take care.
Yes, sir.
Bye. Wow. Louder with Crowder? Has this guy been on Louder with Crowder, that Joe Lewis guy? Duma Damu, D-U-M-A-D-A-M-U? Maybe I'll face him another time. Duma Damu ducking Hake. By the way, I'm supposed to debate, just a quick little announcement, guys. Hake, the most ducked man of 2022. I am supposed to debate that guy whom you guys were saying, oh, he's scared of you, Hake. Hunter Avallone. I've talked with his wife, Carissa Avallone, who has helped with modern day debate. She's this nice young woman. I think she called herself a agnostic Christian or something like that. But anyway, I debated against her with, is there a war on men? And she thinks it's a war on everybody. And it's true, but they're targeting the men so that they can eliminate the men and push, then they can push what they want to fool the children and women, is the point that JLP makes all the time. Joe Lewis is Crowder's dog. Oh, I know. Isn't he like this black boxer guy too, right? Not sure. But I'm going to be debating Hunter Avallone on Modern Day Debate, 4 p.m. Pacific time this Friday, which is what, April 20, what is that, 22nd? I don't know my weekdays. Yeah, that is scheduled. We'll see if it happens, But Hake on Modern Day Debate. Again, I'll put the announcement up on thehakereport.com/appearances. Shout out to Hunter Avallone. I think he used to be according to you guys, I think he used to be a Trump supporter, and then he turned kind of like, and sort of conservative, and then he turned more like liberal. On is systematic racism real? Something to that effect, which I like that topic. Let me get to, before I get to the super chats, guys, I got to get to Bobby in Texas. Bobby, thank you for holding, man. Thanks for calling. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing well as well. Appreciate it.
So I wanted to kind of backtrack on yesterday. I said that Disney was a private company, and therefore they can kind of do whatever they want to do with their company. And I got somebody on your super chat chimed in that they weren't allowed, and you agreed with them.
Right. Certain things you're not allowed to do.
Right. And you prefaced decency laws.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to clear up was, what law is Disney breaking in there? I'm not going to say they're not breaking or they're not skirting some of these laws, but I mean, as far as flat out breaking the law with what they're doing as a company, I don't see it. I don't know. Like, as far as being private and,
Yeah, we used to have where you couldn't even show nudity and moral. Yeah,
you definitely couldn't show
immoral
dudes kissing dudes. That's for sure.
Right. So I think that those laws I don't know the specifics, honestly, but those laws may still be on the books. They're just not enforced. And yes, you're probably right that a lot of these, well, I don't know if you said it, but a lot of these laws perhaps have been repealed. But I think that there's locales that still have like sundown town laws where blacks and others can't be out after sundown.
Right.
And I'm not sure why that was, but, nothing good happens after a certain time of evening. So, yeah, I think that and also, there's I think that they were saying a company can't just do whatever it wants. There's a lot that the company cannot do.
I mean, there are rules in the world, even in business, that prohibit But as long as they're not breaking the law, et cetera, you, as a private company, you can make whatever content, you know, to a degree, to an extent that you want to make. And whether you, me, you know, whoever your super chatter, you know, wants to, you know, watch it or agree with it, I mean, they technically, I would say, have that right to do it. And it's our right to not participate, not watch that programming and, you know, advocate against anybody else watching it. And hopefully it hurts their bottom line and causes, you know, them to rethink their position on these types of ideas.
One of the super chats from yesterday was Asmodor. The quote, he shared this quote saying, "This is a free country and a private business can do what it wants." And he says that is not true when a company targets children with perversion. And he's the one who said, "Come on, Bobby."
Right. So if you're saying that they're doing something illegal then by targeting the children.
Targeting children with perversion.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess, like, I would have to see more of an exhibit of, you know, like what they're doing is wrong, but would they be guilty of targeting children with perversion at this point?
Yeah, that's targeting. They're clearly targeting children with perversion. I don't know if there's a law that explicitly states that.
Would it have to be like specific? Like how are they targeting children with perversion?
Did you hear those? Did you hear the clips that I just played?
Yeah, but those aren't from like their shows or movies. You know what I mean? They're not publicizing that for children.
They're admitting to putting those things in their movies. They're admitting to putting kissing people in the movies and queer stuff in the movies. So that's clear that they're admitting. They're doing the opposite of pleading the fifth. They're admitting to targeting children with perversion.
Okay.
And you could probably find examples in the movies themselves of vulgarness. There was in the Daily Mail report, there was this screenshot of this black female, I guess it was a female, Buzz Lightyear, and she was like not morally straight kissing another female or something like that. So there's clear examples of this degeneracy being pushed. And if it's not illegal, it should be, and it quite reasonably would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't need to be these libertarians.
I'm definitely not on board with them targeting children with perversion, but
and even pornography. There's like
watch a lot of go ahead.
There's like outright pornography that's put in some of these TV shows, just nudity and all that stuff. And the culture is so used to this stuff, they think that you're being unreasonable by saying this stuff shouldn't exist.
What is it? Is it the Everton window? Is that what it's called? Is that the right?
Overton window. The Overton window.
So is it? It's kind of like they push that, you know, envelope in just normal everyday television, to where it's kind of like now you even see like Disney, you know, pushing that envelope even in like children's programming.
Yeah, and on top of that, Ron DeSantis made the point that this business is not even really incorporated in Florida. You know, Disney, trying to influence and challenge and change the Florida policy and laws. It's so typical of these commie capitalist corporations to try to influence by way of intimidation and money, and they're in turn being intimidated by the media and radicals and their own employees into like changing laws and stuff.
And then you see their Disney employees being arrested on pedophile charges, you know.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder why this push against this anti-grooming bill is such a big deal for Disney, why they want to even get involved in something like that when they are, you know, a group for children.
Yeah. And
like
you know, there was
a company like that would be the opposite.
This woman whom I played, LaToya Raveneux, was that her? Oh no, not her. The other black female, Nadine Smith, co-founder of Equality Florida. She talked about in the old days they would go after anybody who was in the so-called civil rights, any civil rights workers, in the 50s in the Johns committee. I think it was in Congress somewhere. They were going after communists, and communists included many in the so-called civil rights and many homosexuals and stuff, you know, out in the shameless or gay agenda homosexuals. And so times have changed a lot, and now people are more prone to be blasé about this stuff. But it's pretty sick stuff. So we've I think it's been a trick that's been played on people to be more fall for the libertarian argument. Oh, they can do what they want. How is this illegal? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I get your point there with like the heads like president and such of these that are making these comments about adding 50%. And that makes it a lot more clear, like to the point to my question, like, you know, as far as like their current cartoons and movies, I would say they're probably skirting laws and, you know, but when you throw in like the heads and the president, it does, you know, connect some dots there. It's like they are targeting children with perversion. Like when you look at it from that angle, where it's like the heads and what they want to accomplish and what they want to push into those roles. Right.
It's true.
So that makes sense. I concur then at this point.
Right on, man. Well, it's good to hear from you, Bobby.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. I was confused a little bit as to what.
Oh, cool.
Where it seemed like it was nitpicking on they can do what they want. It's like clearly they have to still obey laws, but
yeah,
to have that discourse where we discuss like where you're seeing the perversion, it does make a lot more sense now.
Yeah, man, it's such a. I argued in the Disney thing that it's such a bad idea to have these women being in positions of power. You heard them, practically all of them were emotionally overreacting to this Florida law. It's crazy.
Yeah, no man would be proud of their queer kids. Like that's just not a manly thing. It would not be something you would bring up anywhere, like in public. You'd be like, yeah, my kids love Disney, and that's where I would end it. Like, there'd be no back history. And another real quick, you were talking to Fanatiq, and you brought up that quote where she was like, she has two queer kids, and like he was like, oh, well, how old are they? Are they 30? Are they 100? You know, and like she calls them children.
Right.
So where do you classify as children? Like children to me is like probably under 13. So she's got these wild, a transgender child. That's
I can't speculate as to how old they are because you know how women are. They call.
But I mean, if you're calling them children.
A woman will call a 30-year-old a child. To be honest,
that is true.
But she's 55 years old and she has 5 kids, and I assume that they're with this Duggan guy, Michael Duggan or something like that. I forget what it was.
So it could potentially be a 30-year-old, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's probably her 2 youngest children that are in this, crazy stuff.
She's actually kind of like, it's hard to know because she's like a fairly private. I couldn't find any information offhand on.
What's her name?
Carrie, Karey, Carrie Burke, Burke. And her husband is Michael Duggan. And let's see. There's not much. I saw that she supposedly has 5 children, and there has been some little features on her, but I don't exactly know. She was born in 1966 in Orange County, California, and her husband's detail is not really known. The age gap is unknown, but they supposedly have 5 children. 1 transgender and 1 pansexual, according to her. So, and nowadays women are getting 55 years old. Women, maybe she got married at, I don't know. No idea.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna look into it, see if I can't find anything.
She was born Carrie Nixon, if that helps.
Carrie Nixon?
Okay. Yeah. According to this little report that I found. So, yeah,
right,
let me know what you...
I appreciate it.
Let me know what you find out.
I will.
All right, take
Good
care,
to
buddy.
talk to you, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you as well. Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Whew. Yes, indeed, it is kind of warm in here. Let's get some AC, please. Gracias. That means thanks in Spanish. Much grass is short for muchas gracias. Let me read some super chats before I get back to calls. You can call in 888-775-3773. But some super chats. We got your girlfriend gave a super chat and asked, why did the Fanatiq guy, Fanatiq, agree to a debate on a topic he not only had no knowledge about, but also had no interest in? Does modern day debate just draw the guest names out of a hat or something? And he said, how is Bob Chapek weak by caving to mob pressure? I know, that was funny. I was talking about this guy, Fanatiq, on my Subscribe Star post that I posted last night. I recorded it yesterday afternoon because actually Modern Day Debate did not select him. They selected Joe Louis Duma Damu. But Joe Louis Duma Damu had to bail, but out of, I guess common decency, he found someone to fill in for him. And Modern Day Debate, one of the guy who's running Modern Day Debate, he's dealing with a family emergency, he has said on his, family situation. He said on his YouTube channel. And so he may not have the extra time to, really vet the substitutes, right? So, yeah. To me, that was rude for him to be like, oh, this is my first appearance on Modern Day Debate. I wish it could be a better topic. Come on, man. That's just... And then he goes, if you want real substantive debate, check out my Twitch stream Wednesdays. So he's trying to be a competitor with the guy who's hosting him. What a mess. But anyway, thank you, your girlfriend. Maybe perhaps Modern Day Debate should have, but he wanted to keep his schedule, right? And I've talked with Fanatiq before, and he's mildly interesting to talk to, right? He's been on the Fallen State, right? But yeah, he, in my opinion, it reflected worse on Fanatiq than it did on Modern Day Debate. I tried to make the most out of it, make it an enjoyable listen, hopefully. But yeah, he's all, how is Bob Chapek being the CEO of Disney, weak for caving to the mob pressure? And it's quite clear, this guy's in his 60s, a married father of 2 or 3 or something like that. And he didn't say anything, and then he apologized for not saying anything, at least right away. So he's a coward. Oh, maybe he really believes it. Even if he really believes it, he's weak. Because that's not strength to support evil. It's weakness. In my opinion. But that's childish. But anyway, thank you, your girlfriend. Lin Yan Chin with a couple of super chats, a few actually. Lord Goodhair, remember the 3/5 human rating my forefathers were blessed with by your own? It wasn't 3/5 human, they were 3/5 of allowing representation. The 3/5 compromise. But yes, I do remember that. It means your forefathers were 60% more civil/decent, or civil-decent. Conversely, they are 66.6%. Ooh, the mark of the beast, as JLP calls him. Oh, the mark of the something else. 66.6% more civil than the 3/5. Interesting. So you're saying that our forefathers, the Yankees, and the beautiful Southerners, we arrived at this 3/5 compromise where we'll count the slaves to be like 3/5. We'll count 3/5 of them to allow you to have this extra representation and power in the Congress. Something like that, right? So we made that, and it made us more decent than the 3/5, the blacks themselves. What do you mean? Like they dehumanize us? They say, oh, you all guys aren't human. Kind of like this black female who says, they erase you, criminalize your existence, demonize you for who you are. That's exactly what the gays are doing to the Christians, or the radical, not moral straight agendists are doing to the Christians. Lin Yan Chin goes on, you can now see how our previous 3/5 would equal modern host nation. That means the host nation lost 40% of its decency or sense of self, to use a worthless but popular mama phrase. Interesting. Oh, he says, consider my previous, I jumped out of order. Consider my previous observation that we modern blacks are only 1/10 human. So he says, thus 1/6 of the decency of our forefathers, and overrepresent violent crime by six times the host nation. Meaning blacks are 6 times as frequently murderers as whites are, according to the stats, according to the liberal FBI. They can't really fudge those numbers too much. They have to come up with hate crimes and fudge those numbers. You can now see how our previous 3/5 would equal modern host nation. That means host nation lost 40% of its decency or sense of self. Interesting. So we should never have done the 3/5 compromise. Should have just sent them back or something. Thank you, Lin Yan Chin. Hope you guys were able to follow. I think I was able to. Appreciate that, man. Based America First says federal judge ruled Biden's mask mandate on public transportation is unlawful. Thank you. That's cool. Rochelle Walensky, need not fear. I'm scared. That's the CDC director. She's not a Christian. Definitely not unchristian, specifically. Anti-Christian, some might say. No weasels will go to jail for breaking the law and harming millions of people. Weasel is going to probably figure out how to reinstate it again. Yeah, I know. The CDC's mask mandate for airlines and stuff struck down by a female judge. I may get into that more. Thank you, Based America First. John WX25 says, trans whatevering your child makes you no different from a PDF file. Well, he said pedophile. Take the children from these devils. Yeah. And that is what that black female of Equality Florida said, Nadine Smith. I have a picture of her, actually. I searched her. Oh, yeah. She definitely doesn't look like she's morally straight. And she's not. Look at her. Former journalist, strike 1. Co-founder of Equality Florida, strike 2. Working with Disney, strike 3. You're out of there. And she looks a little bit light-skinned. That means radical. Sorry, light-skins. You know I love you. Nadine Smith is an LGBT activist and has been in the executive director of Equality Florida since its inception in 1997. Serves as a legislative lobbyist living in Tallahassee, Florida, the state capital, during session. 1986, she served on the founding board of the International Gay and Lesbian Organization. Gross. TMI. Not good. And that woman said, alluding to, Texas taking the children away from the parents, or allegedly, accusing them of being, what is that? Accused them of being abusive to the children. There is this woman who is like a social worker over in Texas who sued, I guess the governor, Abbott, and whoever else, something like that, because she has like a 15-year-old whom she's helping so-called transition, and she was under investigation. Which honestly, that's right. Not that I'm a fan of Greg Abbott, but it's crazy. Anyway, thank you guys for bearing with me through those super chats. Here is Joe in Portland, Oregon on the line. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Hey, how you doing?
Doing well as well. Thank you.
Hake, I had a question for you. I just wanted to get your opinion. So, regarding the whole gay thing in schools, these poor kids being taught about gay stuff, do you think there should be sex education in schools at all?
No.
What do you think? No?
I say
Nothing?
no. And I know that I've seen when I go on like Twitter, the degenerate side of Twitter, to look at what the degenerates are saying, or on Tumblr and stuff, or on Reddit, which is, oh my gosh, it's vulgar. They all celebrate. Oh, there's another super chat I forgot from yesterday. WWB advocate. I will get to your super chat. I appreciate that. And the Reverend Chad Kroger. Oh my gosh. What in the world? And Brandon M. Oh man. My Odyssey super chatters. Okay, sorry, Joe from Portland. So.
No problem.
What was I saying? You were asked if we should have
sex education
should
we
at all.
have it? You were saying the degenerates.
Yeah, the degenerates are all. Thank God I had sex education. I learned that such and such was not a bad thing, or whatever happened, or they learn about like the changing of their bodies or something like that. But to me, it's the parents are the ones who are supposed to have especially the fathers, are supposed to have the right over the child. And then the mothers, hopefully the fathers and mothers are together, and the mother is not this misguided woman who's going to misguide the child. And if they need some outside expertise, they go to like a doctor's, and hopefully doctors are not a bunch of dumb liberals. But the culture now is so corrupt that the doctors are liberals, the mothers are liberals, even the fathers are liberals. And by liberals, I mean, pushing degeneracy on kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Much less the schools.
On it.
Go ahead.
I'm on the fence. On it. Maybe just really basic stuff at a high school level is okay.
Yeah, stay close to your phone.
Basic, like how the body works. Huh?
Stay close to your phone.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
So I can see both points of view.
Yeah.
I don't think this gay stuff should be taught. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But, just basic biology. Right. Sex education. I had it when I was in high school, and it was, back then it was very basic, and it was good. I thought I learned some stuff because, sometimes the parents don't always teach their kids this stuff. It's an awkward conversation to have.
But isn't one argument that I heard from a Christian guy named Francis Chan was that you figure it out in some cases and for some stuff. Yeah. But I don't know about sex education, but biology. If it's like we should vet the teachers very strictly. I think that's part of the issue, because now we have freaks who are teaching these things. Yeah. And feminists. I agree. Yeah. And not morally straight people.
Get those people out of the schools.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe girls
I can know more. Yeah, maybe girls need to know more because their body stuff is a little bit more complicated than guys.
Yeah, they go through crazier changes, I guess.
Yeah, they go through stuff I don't even know about.
Right. Nor want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
So maybe they need a little bit more information because they need to know stuff that maybe their parents aren't telling them. But I agree, most stuff kids just figure out on their own.
Right.
But I wouldn't be opposed to just some really basic stuff at high school level.
Yeah. But Nick says, just Google it. Google is evil. Yeah, even you're not a Christian. You're like into this sex out of wedlock thing, aren't you, or no?
I am not. I'm not religious. My personal opinion is that sex out of wedlock is acceptable.
Dang. Don't listen to this man, kids. Or parents.
I respect the opinion, the Christian opinion, that sex should happen after marriage. I respect that opinion. I'm not against it. I just my opinion is that
Nice.
it's okay.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. It's good to hear from you, man. Look, good to hear from you, Joe.
All right.
How old are
Yeah,
you, if you
thank
don't mind
you.
my asking?
59.
And you're white?
I'm very white.
No, not unmarried and no children.
You are correct.
See, this is partly, I mean, this is like the case for a lot of us, right? But
Yeah.
this is partly why I think that we need marriage and stuff like that. Because let's say, had you not been allowed to have sex out of wedlock, you might have been driven to find a decent woman and get married and have children, and then you'd have more white babies, which is what we need. Because you're a halfway sensible man. You're like a halfway decent man, maybe. Maybe 1/3 decent. And so then
I appreciate that.
you appreciate that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you would have children who would be like a light in the world, and you would be a light to them, and a wife.
Yeah, but if I had married some of the girls I've dated, I would have ended up unhappy.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Well, I mean, that's probably going to happen. But anyway, I'm not saying that you should have married the women that you dated. I'm saying that you might have had a fire under you to find an actually decent woman, if there is such a thing, and because you're going to take marriage more seriously, I think, hopefully, or we should. So that, because hopefully you don't believe in divorce, so you go into it with clear eyes and don't have the sex out of wedlock, so you don't fall for them. Because when you fall for them, you're going to look the other way when they're crazy because you're hooked.
Yeah, that's the problem. Most women are crazy.
Yeah, and then when you have sex with them, you're hooked.
Right.
Even more so than when you don't have the sex with them. You're still hooked even then, I think.
Yeah, the power of the you know what.
Right.
That's what they say.
Right.
So yeah, but I'm actually I think I dodged several bullets. If you know what I mean.
Well, so you're holding out hope. Nice.
Yeah, well, at this point, I feel like it's not going to happen, but I'm okay with that. And you know what? As far as having kids, I mean, I don't see how I could afford to have kids. I can barely afford to take care of myself.
Lord.
So I don't think you should.
You
have
don't
kids
have to
unless
live in
you can really
Portland.
afford it. Yeah, I'm moving out of Portland.
I know.
But even so, I don't think I could really afford to have kids. And I don't think if you can't afford to have kids, I don't think you should have kids. If you can't feed them, don't breed them.
Yeah, but it's a sink or swim type of situation. You have the kids, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta whip into shape, and then you suddenly get productive.
Yeah.
Or you make cuts or whatever. So you need a can-do. We need a can-do mindset, not a can't-do mindset.
Well, I wouldn't want to get myself into a situation where I was unhappy in a job just so I can, pay for kids.
That's part of life, man. No, I don't know. But
there's enough kids. There's enough kids. There's enough.
Not enough white kids.
You don't think so?
No. You know that's not true.
I mean, there's definitely more non-white kids.
Right. I mean, I know that even if we had all the white kids we still probably wouldn't keep up, but you would still be.
That's true.
We only need but it's not just a matter of numbers. It's also a matter of making decent kids.
Yeah. And they are trying, I think they are, the left is excited about getting rid of the white race.
Right.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
Which they've made very clear, actually. They're not even hiding it anymore.
Yeah.
They're trying to get rid of us.
So you shouldn't have a can't-do mindset, a doomist. Oh, I wouldn't want to be. You're like thinking in your imagination. Oh, if I had kids, I would have a job that I'm miserable in. You don't know that.
I don't know that.
That's just making excuses.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, I'm glad I didn't have kids. I think it was a good decision.
But you're only 50. You just admitted that you still
No, I'm
can.
59. I'm 59.
You still can. Like, people have kids.
I still can, but it's unlikely at this point.
But there's no such thing as likely or unlikely. You don't know.
No, there is such a thing. It's the chances are slim that at this point in my life I'm going to meet a woman.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance.
See?
I'm just saying the chances are slim at this point. The older you get, the slimmer the chances are.
Right.
So.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Joe. It's good to hear from you, man.
All right, man. You take it easy.
All right. You too. Guys, I will have to read these super chats after the break because we are at 10:06 a.m. here right now. Let's get to, oh, this is a fast song. And I don't think I have any clip for it. I guess you just have to play whatever. This is about 90 seconds long. This is Frog Eyes. It's from the 2003, I think, album The Golden River. And this track is number 2 is called Time Reveals Its Plan at Poisoned Falls. Grin and bear it, you musical Philistines, because I will be right back in a skip and a jump or something like that. A hop, skip, and a jump, because this is a short song. Don't press mute because it's short. Frog Eyes, Time Reveals Its Plan at Poisoned Falls from the album Golden River. Be right back, guys.
A person falls a royal scene of a thrill, it's like things, a baby will come. Think about it, hold on. I'm the song that Mary holding on. Days, die, and very impossible. I think you're jealous. I'm the head of the queen. I flew around the night unseen, and I know when to scream, oh baby, wake up. I'll talk to the queen. A person falls a royal scene. I bet they'll hiss like fiends, oh baby, wake up. Think about it, hold on. I'm the song that Mary holding on. Change time and impossible. I think you're jealous. I think you're jealous. I think you're jealous.
Wasn't that great? Sounds like a chicken. The Golden River, so now you're supporting. No, it's not that. It's not that. There are real golden rivers. Is this a real song? Is this Jack Black? My ears are bleeding. Play more Frodus. Great band. I love Frodus. Especially that, and we washed our weapons in the sea. This might just be the goofiest ever. Neurotic. Sounds like a chicken. That noise, not music. Make it stop. Your taste in music leaves a little bit to be desired. Is this Tiny Tim? Never hit a little speaker so fast in my life. Oh, this is like Tiny Tim on crack. This is what plays in hell. Tom Waits on helium. Terrible. Sounds like Tiny Tim death metal. What do you guys, I've never heard of this Tiny Tim stuff. I only listened to Christian music and then whatever. Definitely 440 hertz noise. This music will turn people gate. Well, guys, thank you for bearing with me through that beautiful music. I really liked yesterday's song, Waterboarding Music. If Bowie didn't die. You try to disturb us, Hake. I really like this album and this band. This is the worst music you've ever played, and that says a lot. Headache now. They use this song to interrogate terrorists. Well, thank you guys, again, for bearing with me through that beautiful music. Let me read some super chats for you, because I am remiss in not reading the Odyssey super chats. What am I thinking? I could slap myself. WWB Advocate, 23 hours ago, wrote, when Western kind committed slavery, it wasn't as bad as death. White slaves who are sold in Israel and Middle Eastern countries are tortured and raped, though. If slaves are living in a worse fate than black slaves in America, if any slaves are living a worse fate than black slaves in America, it's slaves today, especially white slaves. White slaves today live through worse than death. Then again, that's because white slaves are being trading in Israel, or traded, I think, in Israel and Middle Eastern countries, raped and tortured. Yeah, I hear that they're like in the Muslim countries, what is that thing where they make them so they can't have kids? That wasn't the case with black slaves in America. Sometimes slavery is worse than death. It wasn't for blacks in America, though. Yeah, and I believe that. We made them Christians. We fed and clothed them. We let them sing their Negro spirituals, I think. We only whipped them when they didn't properly work and stuff like that, or when they tried to run away. You can't just run away. What the heck? We are men of order and civilization. You can't just steal yourself away when you're property. Buy your freedom. You can do it. People did it. And then they themselves became slave owners and worse, harsher slave owners, I should say, than the white slave owners, is what I heard. More super chats. The Reverend Chad Kroger. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, man. He says, shoot. Except he didn't quite say shoot. But he's I never sent Hake a dono. What a mess. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Shout out to the Rev Chad Kroger. Seems like a cool guy. I'm reading his chat about Anita Bryant. A sweet lady. And some dating history of some of our resident historians. Interesting. Brandon M. says, Dave's... Oh, I should have read this when I had him on the air. Days without a bad take from Bobby, 0, says Brandon M. A fellow Texan of Bobby from Texas, alongside Asmodor, who also, I believe, hails from Texas. Many generations. Let me drink a little bit of water, guys. That song was so fast, I didn't get a chance to drink some water. And I've been holding this Sports Authority water bottle for some time. I feel cool holding it. Hold on. Thank you. That's not enough, but it'll hold me over a little bit. More super chats, guys. I appreciate them. Commander Kim says sex ed should not be taught in schools. It allows and enables parents to be lazy and for perverts to step in the middle of where they have no authority. We used to call adults speaking to children about sex, we used to call them predators. No sex ed in schools. Well, thank you, Commander Kim. In this case, perhaps this is a more logical woman. If Commander Kim is a woman, I think she is. If it's a he, sorry, man. But if it's a she, thank you, ma'am or miss. More logical than my friend Joe, or our friend Joe, the friend of the show, the caller, Joe from PDX, Portland, Oregon. Brandon M. says, do you really want biology teachers telling bots they can have periods? Basic biology is just as corrupted. Most teachers today have an agenda. Yeah, true. Especially the younger ones. Oh my gosh. Some older ones too. Also, with the access to pornography, most kids have they already exposed by the time they're 8 to 10 years old? Yikes. The parents should decide, says Brandon M. Yeah, I agree. One semester I had health and safety. The other semester I had relationships. And relationships, I went to maybe one class, one day of it. And then at the behest of my parents, like my mother, I think, I changed classes to go to graphic arts. Graphic arts not being graphic in the sense, oh my gosh, this is graphic, but graphic arts in the sense of visual art. And I learned silk screening. I printed stickers and T-shirts and things. I didn't do a lot of work. Mostly we watched MTV, so maybe that was counterproductive. But I liked it better than relationships with this weirdo woman. I heard some vulgar things, secondhand or third hand, from other people who attended the class. She would be like, ladies, don't you wish that such and such, such and such? Oh my gosh. Traumatizing. Terrible. Yeah, castration is what some of the slaves in the Middle East went through. Maybe to this day. Commander Kim says, it's ma'am. But that's not her voice.
To this day.
Yeah, to this day, there is perhaps slavery in, like, Libya and somewhere. Thanks, Obama. Brandon M. says, Tiny Tim was a ukulele player who sang Tiptoe Through the Tulips in that high-pitched voice in the 60s and 70s. Okay, thank you for the education. One of my resident historians, Brandon M. and Asmodor, I consider my resident historians. Over there on the Odyssey chat, odyssee.com/@the Hake Report. So, yeah, let's talk about this mask mandate that got struck down. Isn't that nice? I reported it in Hake News at the end of, hour 1 or 2, I forget. But this former JLP guest, far-left Slate writer, this was a debate, right? Slate writer Mark Joseph Stern, not morally straight. He wrote in the middle of a thread that he posted a whole thread on this. Try explaining to your friends in other liberal democracies. That's what he's calling America, a liberal democracy. I guess that's what it is now, meaning mob rule and evil, anti-Christian. I guess that's what it is. Liberal means evil and anti-Christian. Democracy means commie, capitalist, mob rule, right? That a single unelected life-tenured 35-year-old judge just abolished the air travel mask mandate for the entire country. No peer nation would tolerate such a power-drunk juristocracy. Our system is badly broken. And I think he got somewhat ratioed for this tweet, this take. Lots of replies, especially from like blue checkmark so-called conservatives, pointing out his hypocrisy as if he cares about hypocrisy. He's a commie pawn, also known as a journalist, which is to say a kiss-up activist journalist, right? But this guy, Mark Joseph Stern, who has been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show before, all girly. Another Trump judge issues another nationwide injunction while pretending to be wary of its legality. Hard to overstate the brazen hypocrisy here, because David Maxim, another blue checkmark guy from BuzzFeed and ABC or stuff like that, he said that a Trump-appointed federal judge in Florida just vacated the CDC's mask mandate in airports and other transport hubs. And so American Airlines, I think, Delta Airlines, and many others, they got rid of their mask mandates. And actually, I think they had petitioned the White House and the CDC to be like, hey, let's get rid of these. It's causing problems. I think. Or maybe it was vax mandates. I think it was mask mandates, though. I mean, it just causes problems with the staff. I mean, between the staff and the people who are riding the plane. Because these staff, some of them go overboard with their rules. It's the law. Which I don't even think, it's not the law. Mark Joseph Stern says, who should decide whether air passengers must wear masks? A federal agency staffed with experts accountable to the president, who is accountable to the people, or a 35-year-old Trump judge in Tampa, Florida? When Trump nominated her to the federal judiciary, Catherine Kimball Mizell, she's the judge, right, had never tried a case, civil or criminal, as lead or co-counsel since her admission to the bar. She spent 10 months at a firm and 3 years in the government practice. The ABA rated her as not qualified. So what? I don't know anything about this woman either. But she struck it down, so she's okay in my book for now. Mizell's alleged qualification for the bench, her clerkships with conservative judges. That was enough for Senate Republicans. Now she's issuing nationwide injunctions that affect millions of Americans' health and safety. No sane democracy. This guy's fallen all over himself because he thinks like a woman, with thinking that we have to impose mask mandates on the people. No sane democracy would permit this system of governance. Pretty good chance Catherine Kimball Mizell will still be ruling us in 2072 when she's in her 80s. That's the future we're condemning ourselves to if we unquestioningly accept rule by Trump judges. That's what Democrats are embracing when they oppose court reform. It's funny because some of the people who are like responded to him are like sharing other times, you know, that defiant L's. There's a defiant L's, meaning like these people are defiantly contradicting themselves in the values they pretend to be for. They're saying stuff like, let's see, I don't know if I have it. Oh yeah. Cernovich, who's center left guy, right? Blue check mark on Twitter. He said, gosh, in response to Mark Joseph Stern freaking out, because back in 2017, Mark Joseph Stern said, don't give up on the Constitution just yet. One brave federal judge just secured due process and equal protection for thousands of people. And he's referencing some judge named Donnelly, I guess. Donnelly's order vindicates the ACLU's claim that targeting immigrants on the basis of national origin or religion violates equal protection. And that's a reference to Trump saying we need to ban all Muslims from coming into the country or something like that. I think we should bring back, we need to get rid of anti-discrimination laws, deport the ACLU and the ADL and other trash like that, SPLC. Deport Mark Joseph Stern, perhaps, because he doesn't have our values. I don't know. I don't know if it's the solution, but we need to like push back against this stupid stuff because discrimination is a basic right of a country. You know, at one point, our country's immigration policy, you guys know this better than I do, some of you, was, you know, white Christians or white Europeans or something like that of good character. And good character means like not these weirdo religions and stuff like that. And the national origin, yeah, European. Violates equal protection. So sick. There's another one, I think. Oh, yeah, here's another one. Oh, no, I already got that. Crazy. Ridiculous. Let me just see if there's any more info on this. You heard it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Was that a black mother who was all scared, or was it just a normal mother who was all scared? She was struck with fear. Stricken by fear when she heard the pilot announce over the CB to the passengers. It's not a CB, or maybe it is. Oh, good news, congratulations, you can take off your masks. You're no longer forced to wear the masks. That's exciting. Hopefully it stays like that. Delta Airlines, American Airlines, United, Southwest, Alaska, JetBlue. We need Spirit Airlines to join the team. Spirit, bunch of liberals. Or am I wrong? Maybe they changed it too. Brooke Tansley. Yeah. Her name was Brooke, Brooke Tansley. Not sure. Nick wondered himself. It's been scrapped, the transportation mask mandate. That's cool. The Biden administration, the scared woman-led CDC, had just extended it for another, 15 days? It felt like a month. Less than a week ago. 4 major U.S. airlines dropped their mask requirements for domestic flights after that ruling. And they'd wanted to do that, I think. They know it's not good. It's just causing conflicts with POCs and other people who just don't like to be told what to do. Shameful. In my opinion, that's shameful. Anyway. So congratulations. I'm excited about that. I wanted to talk about this thing that's going on. You know, they're attacking InfoWars.com and Alex Jones. Based Alex Jones. I like them. I like the guy. I respect his hustle. I respect what he built. And he's interviewed JLP. I know his other guys, you know, Owen Schroyer has interviewed JLP a lot, and Harrison Smith, I think his name is, young guy over there at Infowars.com. And actually, that guy, Paul Joseph Watson, base PJW, who comes out with these videos on a weekly basis, he put in JLP drops. He black. When he covered the Brooklyn subway shooter. But anyway, Alex Jones, I saw this headline yesterday. And this doesn't necessarily mean anything because Trump had to do the same thing. They filed for bankruptcy, or at least InfoWars filed for bankruptcy. Right-wing conspiracy outlet InfoWars has filed for bankruptcy protection as its founder, Alex Jones, faces several defamation lawsuits. You know what? Speaking of defamation, is there anybody more defamed than Alex Jones? Falsely defamed by Alex Jones? Because he's like kind of effective, popular. So he's got a target on his back. He's a Christian. He's white. There may be. There's a lot of people in the running. Donald J. Trump, very defamed. Anybody who's white and Christian or doesn't hate white people. Nicholas Fuentes, very defamed. A lot of the guys in what was called the alt-right, very defamed. But no, they turn around and accuse them, the victims, of being the villains. So wrong. Anyway, this move could pause civil litigation against his companies, InfoWars and others. Jones was found, quote unquote, by a kangaroo court, in my opinion, legally responsible for damages in 3 defamation lawsuits related to false claims he made. This is Commie Nonsense Network, CNN, about the 2012 Sandy Hook mass shooting. And it's ridiculous to call it false claims because I feel like I've seen clips from back then, and he will speculate on things, and he'll say something, and in the same sitting, he will contradict that statement or say, "Oh, I think that this is the case." He'll say definitively, "This is the case," because this is how people communicate. Especially like live for hours and hours and hours on air. And he's not always the most careful communicator. He's not Obama, which is a good thing. He speaks his mind. In the aftermath of the shooting in which 26 people were killed, Sandy Hook, this is the Adam Lanza thing. A guy from like a liberal town, I presume, Sandy Hook. What was that, in Connecticut? Not sure, but this son of a single mother took her AR, I think, or her gun, and killed her with it, and then went over to a school and killed children and adults with it. And I think he killed himself. In the aftermath of the shooting, Alex Jones baselessly said the incident was staged. But then I think in the same sitting, he said, "Oh, you know, it may have been staged, or it's possible, or, you know, stuff seems suspicious." Kind of like some of my callers, you know, it seems flaggy, false flaggy. Because that does happen, I hear. He later swore in a deposition that a form of psychosis caused him to, at the time, to believe it was staged. The documents filed on Sunday. And so what if he said that it was? Well, they claim, "Oh, he has a lot of followers, and those followers have harassed and threatened the real victims or the families of the victims. Oh, caused so much mental anguish. Oh, they're defamed," I guess. That's what they're pretending. The documents filed on Sunday sought bankruptcy protection for InfoWars and Prison Planet, another one of Alex Jones's right-wing outlets. It's not right-wing. It's like somewhat centrist, a little bit on the right, I guess. Somewhat libertarian. Jones also sought bankruptcy protection for InfoWars Health, a store for which Jones has hawked nutritional supplements and other products. Conspiracy site is what the Morning Brew, far-left Morning Brew calls it, as well as 2 other websites. Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, each entity estimating up to $10 million in liabilities. Relatives of the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre sued him for calling it a hoax. What do they care? I'm sorry, I thought this was America. It's not America? I thought this was America. Liable by default by a Connecticut judge. I'm shaking my head. But people who are standing for what's right expect this, right? Expect it. So I wish Alex Jones well. I have no ill will towards him. I totally respect his hustle. I respect the hustle of these guys. Even though I don't know, like, the Gab founder, the guy who founded Gab, Andrew Torba, I respect that guy's, like, built what he's built. I don't know much about him. He's been on the radio show at least 1 or 2 times. I saw him speak at AFPAC 3. He says he's a Christian and he speaks, like, Christian messages. And he's for, like, free speech. He's been on, I think he's been on Tucker Carlson's show. Don't know much about the guy, but I respect that what he's built. Commander Kim states that everyone involved in Sandy Hook had their homes paid off in full a day after Christmas when financial institutions are closed. Huh. Because, like, they felt sorry for them, or is that, like, feeding the, does that also feed the speculation about these people? A lot of these, people are so liberal now, like, chances are, if there's going to be, like, people get victimized, the relatives, you're going to find a loudmouth, dumb liberal relative who's going to go on a mission to take away the Second Amendment, which is what happened in Florida, Parkland, Florida. I covered that guy. And up here in Newtown, Connecticut, these dumb liberal so-called white areas who don't seem like normal whites, by the way, probably because they're not, they're very unchristian, anti-Christian. It's so wrong. Anyway, let me get to a call or 2, guys. You can call in 888-775-3773. Let me get to Art in Ohio. Art, how are you doing, man?
What's up with Hake, doggy dog, baby?
Just hanging out, having a fun time on a Tuesday. How about you?
I'm all right. Shout out one time, mic check, 1 2 1 2 to that good chat up in here, man.
Nice. Right on.
Hey, so I'm up at the gas station in this nice little area, this newly developed. Or you got to have money to live out here. You got to be a nurse. Or you got to be somewhere in that field to where you making a nice income. So I go to the BP or whatnot, and I see a cop cruiser sitting up there, and I don't think nothing of it. I'm walking in to pay for my gas. The lady in there, she tell me, like, man, go ahead. We closed or whatnot. So I'm like, all right. And I go back get in the car with my peoples or whatnot. I'm like, man, they must have got robbed or something. You know, that Alpha Spider-Man senses tingling. I don't need to. I can basically tell what's up. I can tell and see what's going on. I don't need nobody to tell me. I've been around the block more than 10 times, so I know what's going on out here.
Yeah.
Long story short, so I go down the street and go to the Speedway. So I'm in there standing in this little long line. I hear this little white lady in there. She by herself or whatnot. Look like she on the verge of having a nervous breakdown or whatnot. So I'm listening to her conversation on the phone as she's ringing people out. She said, we just got robbed by the same dude that just robbed the BP down the street. And I cut her off in her conversation while people was in line. I said, y'all just got robbed last night, and then BP just got robbed down here? Okay. I was like, well, y'all gonna have to get used to that or whatnot. That's gonna be going on for about the next 2 years or whatnot. She looked at me as if to say, like, huh? And, you know, it went over her head, but see, what she don't understand, I know about her, I can look at you and tell, you know what I mean, if you a liberal or, you know what I mean, or if you a conservative or whatnot. And most of the people that tend to be in these areas where I'm at tend to be liberals. They think that this LGBTQ stuff is cool. We don't need cops. We don't need men in the house. And I'm independent. I'm strong, and I can kill babies. And you voting these whites and these blacks been fighting to get y'all females to be out here voting. Everybody ain't supposed to be voting. And half y'all that's out here voting like my mom that thinks this Nancy Pelosi is some guy's gift to earth or she's some type of angel. Y'all don't know nothing about history. So y'all don't know nothing about politics. Y'all out here pushing a lot of this agenda. And then when your stores are getting robbed and you people was robbing you for your weave and your hair because it ain't glued onto your head and they coming in your houses and stuff, now you want to be talking about we need men in the house. Where are the men at? We need some police or whatnot. And it's just awfully so funny that, you know, y'all went with this lie about lying on Donald Trump all this time. Now you don't got your Sleepy Joe in there that needs his pamper changed every 30 minutes. And inflation done went up. Now people out here ain't got jobs, which they was having when Trump was in office. And the inflation done went up. And now people out here ain't got nothing to do because they sitting on their hands and idle time is the devil's time. And now people's out here robbing y'all. Now y'all out here about to have heart attacks and don't know what the dang gonna do.
It's their own fault, huh? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's their own fault. And I told you this a while ago. A liar turns into a thief, and a thief turns into a killer. A thief turns into a liar, and then turns into a killer. So y'all went with this lie all this time. Now you done made the bed. Now you gotta lay in. Don't nobody want to hear nothing about it because they ain't come to rob me. They come to rob y'all. Just like they doing in California.
Yeah.
Going to them rich white neighborhoods. Going to these rich white people, you liberals, going to these stores, la-da-da-da-da, having a nice day, going here spending $2,000-$3,000 in these shops, and these liberal Negroes, I almost said the N-word, these liberal N-words is out here watching y'all and coming and robbing y'all. But this is what y'all wanted, though. I guarantee you, a lot of y'all they gonna have to do something about this or whatnot, because you got a lot of people that's voting and acting like they know about politics, and they don't know nothing about politics. They are getting people's kids killed and even getting their own self killed because they want to be supporting this liberal, independent, female talk stuff. I'm listening to you.
That's wild, man. And you're so right that I was thinking as you were talking about these rich, well-to-do areas, horrific things happening. Remember that pretty, 23-year-old girl who got UCLA student or something like that? She got stabbed to death in an upscale MacArthur Park, I think it was MacArthur Park, like a jewelry store or some nice store that, I don't know if it was this black homeless guy who was just out of his mind. He went in and stabbed her to death. And she had a bad feeling about him, but who knows? Maybe she had that fake white guilt or something, or maybe she didn't get a chance to protect herself. But she had that warning, and apparently she did not heed the warning enough to be able to get away. And what can you do if you're the only woman if you're the only clerk in the store? What a terrible situation. And you're right; they're targeting well-to-do areas, just invading homes with people in them. Shamelessly.
What goes around comes around, and karma is definitely true or whatnot. It says it. It don't say exactly karma, but it's a word that they use in the Bible.
You reap what you sow.
Truth. You reap what you sow or whatnot, and y'all was out here pushing all this stuff, talking about people as racist, and he's evil, and he's a bad man, and this and this and that. Now you don't got somebody in there or whatnot, and you're like, well, how does Sleepy Joe have all this to do with it? Because it's the energy that he's putting out. You know what I mean? It's the energy that y'all had to cheat to get him in there. So
I disavow. But I know.
Cheaters never prevail. You see what I'm saying? And you had to do all this to get him in there. And I'm gonna say one more thing, and I'm gonna get up off here. The Democrats got these females out here confused. And the white liberal females too. See, they got y'all backed into a corner. Y'all think that everything that glitters is gold or diamond, and it ain't.
Yeah.
And now you out here talking to y'all independent or whatnot. Now everybody's sitting back watching all y'all independent females, kids out here robbing, killing, stealing. Half of y'all's kids is out here, they 17, 16. Your moms are stressing them out. These kids is on freaking pills, fentanyl, heroin, crack at 17, 18, 20 years old, because you liberal moms are stressing them out because y'all independent. Y'all don't kick the dads out, and y'all want to do everything by yourself. You can't tell y'all nothing, because as soon as you try to tell y'all something, y'all trying to overtalk the men or whatnot. And now everybody's sitting back like me and Hake and a lot of these whites, conservative whites, are sitting there like, now what are we going to do about this or whatnot? Because ain't nobody about to keep sitting and letting their kids and their family be jeopardized by no liberal, independent, strong white female or no strong black female, liberal, independent, and y'all's kids that y'all dysfunctionally raised, and you putting my kids and these people that want to do right, our kids, in jeopardy because y'all pushing the LGP, whatever that stuff is, agenda.
Yeah, it's so bad, but they're blind.
Oh yeah, well, something's gonna have to give because this ain't about to keep lasting too long. And God is definitely gonna have his way with America, because all this stuff that they got going on and how they got it going on right now with the stuff that they pushing, he ain't happy. But God bless you, Hake, or whatnot, and I appreciate you for your time always, and I'll catch you later, Daddy.
Sounds good, man. Take care, Art. Appreciate you.
Hey, one more thing, and we still rolling with Trump strong.
Yep, indeed.
Indeed. Yep.
Very nice. Just read the chat a little bit. Not necessarily super chats, but some of what you guys said caught my eye over here. A teenager, says Tim Scott, the real Tim Scott, not to be confused with the rhino. A teenager was murdered in Stockton, California by a criminal black vagrant just yesterday. Yeah. You voted for it, now live with it, says Lisa. Shout out to the Facebook crew. Nice to see you guys. A killer is still a thief, Tim Scott says. They steal your life. Yeah. Lennox says, why are you so judgy, James? I'll answer that in a minute. Majin Perez says, Majin Perez, I don't know how to pronounce your name, man. Says they pretend to be white, but they are Jewish. Whoa. Odd, Alex gets sued because they claim his listeners were harassing the parents, but no one was arrested or charged. Gotta love the CIA. Interesting statement, Raymond. Kilo Alpha 1 says, I gained awareness from Sandy Hook. Before that, I didn't know about crisis actors. Wow. Yeah, interesting. Brandon M said, art would be much more effective if you took a public speaking class. Oh, yeah. All the uhs and stuff like that. Yeah, sometimes people have a habitual stutter or saying a lot. True. Always room to improve, right? Makes me want to spit. Yeah. It's not good. You know what else is not good? I mean, it's crazy that they let the men being weak lets the women just go out of control. And they go out of control, including the conservative women. But anyway, there's this NBC News article that came out in more ways than one on the 15th of April. What was that, Friday? Gay parents, so-called, not real parents, were called rapists and pedophiles in an Amtrak incident. The couple, man, this is like vulgar, just to see the picture. And there's just the words that they use to describe these people. The couple blames conservative politicians and right-wing media for the incident, citing a recent uptick in charged rhetoric surrounding LGBTQ issues. And I have pictures of this cute little light-skinned black kid, like a baby almost, with a couple of apparently not morally straight guys, perhaps not Christians. Robbie Pierce on the left with his so-called husband, Neil Broverman, and their 6-year-old, he's 6 only? I mean, he's 6, he looks younger than that. Looks like a runt. A runt. 6-year-old adopted son. So they're not real parents. They're adoptive so-called parents, and they're not a man and a woman. I'm spitting right now, says Willie Powell. I know. Get that disgrace off the screen. But look, it's terrible. Matt Lavietes writes in this NBC so-called news article. Matt Lavietes says Robbie Pierce, his so-called husband, not true, and their 2 young children, not theirs, enjoying a scenic train ride on the Pacific Coast on Amtrak, right? I've ridden Amtrak. I rode Amtrak from Los Angeles Union Station up to PDX, Portland, Oregon. It was picked up by a buddy of mine. It took I think it was supposed to take 30 hours, or it took 30 hours. It wasn't supposed to take that long. But they had stops and starts. They're constantly working on it. This was 2007, right before I found out about Bond. But enjoying a scenic ride on the Pacific Coast, a peaceful prelude to a spring break getaway. It's supposed to be called Easter Vacation. Shaking my head. The secularization of the country, right? At the end of their journey from their home in LA to Oakland, California, the couple, so-called couple, gross, said a man sitting across the aisle turned their family vacation into a nightmare. He started yelling across me and shouting, "Remember what I told you." The man's remarks were directed at his 6-year-old son. Next thing he said, "Marriage is between a man and a woman. They stole you and they're pedophiles." Based. Gotta love the Amtrak based Christian old man. Allegedly. What, are we only getting one side of the story? The shouting was started as the Amtrak train was stopped at Doradon Station in San Jose, Pierce said. Immediately, he and his so-called husband, Neil Broverman, stood up and got in between the unidentified man and their children, who started sobbing. "I'm not a big guy, but I wasn't nervous," this brave, what's his name? Neil, Neal, Broverman said. When you're dealing with your children, you feel like they're being threatened. You're kind of fearless. It's kind of that mom lifting the car scenario. But it was hideous, and it was not stopping. The man continued to shout at the so-called family of 4, yelling, "That's not a family! You're rapists and pedophiles! You steal black and Asian children and you rape them!" Pearson Broverman said, the so-called couple has adopted a son who's black, light-skinned black, and a 5-year-old Asian so-called American foster daughter. You know, this is not the first time I've heard this type of a thing before, because I told you this story during the Black Lives Matter 2014 days or so of these 2, so-called lesbians who, supposedly white, who adopted 5 supposedly black children, and they would just starve them and abuse them in different ways, such that one had to run across to the neighbor and ask, "Please, sir, give me some food." Well, they don't have a British accent, but... And then come to find out, later, these 2 lesbians, drove a car full of some of the kids, off a cliff. Killed themselves and the kids. Oh, man. Horrific. But anyway. Before speaking with NBC so-called news about the Tuesday night incident, the pair documented the event in a now viral Twitter thread. What, they don't even have a recording of it? I want to hear the man saying... I can't repeat it. Along with dealing with the encounter, the couple placed blame for the incident on the uptick in charged rhetoric concerning LGBT issues. Yeah, they always want to blame the politicians for something that an individual does. Oh, blame Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. Like that guy's who knows? You know, 9 hours into a pleasant ride, a man suddenly standing next to me, shouting across me at my 6-year-old son, "Remember what I told you? They stole you. They're pedophiles." And he posted his thread. So they referenced the Don't Say Gay bill. Marjorie Greene said Democrats are the party of killing babies, grooming and transitioning children, and pro-pedophile politics. I know, because they're referencing the black female judge. And, you know, like, objectively speaking, tell me if, what is that outlet that, Salon.com and Huffington Compost is not the right word for it. Huffington Post, degenerate, feminist, far-left, enemies of whites and Christians in America outlet that talk about, oh, this is just a, you know, being attracted to children like that. It's just a, what is it? They call it like a sexual orientation or something like that. Sorry, kids. It's vulgar. It's too vulgar almost. And these so-called journalists reference stories from Media Matters. Media Matters is a propaganda outlet. These people themselves are propaganda outlets. The word grooming has long been associated with mischaracterizing LGBTQ people, particularly gay men and transgender women, which means males, cross-dressing males, right? As child sex abusers, and at least in the past decade, appeared to be relegated to the margins of the far-right movement. Yeah, because they made it shameful to even repeat that, because there's some truth to it. Not all, but disproportionate, right? Type of a thing. Maybe it is all, but I don't know. Pearson Broverman said this was not the first time their so-called family, it's not a family, had hate directed to them in public. Sometimes strangers will taunt them with the F word. Another so-called homophobic slurs. No such thing. Broverman also recalled an episode. They're just relaying these people's stories credulously without telling you the truth about, like, they don't check into what these people went through. It reminds me of the blacks. Well, the blacks would say, oh, I went through this and this. I experienced racism. And it's some fake story, or a story where they exaggerate it or they misinterpret something that happened. Please. Broverman recalled an episode where a driver rolled down his window and asked the pair's children, "Did they kidnap you?" Pearson and Broverman described the latest incident as more aggressive and egregious than past instances. The first time a verbal attack came laced with talking points from right-wing media and legislators. Give me a break. Give me a break. I think a lot of people think this, but they just don't feel comfortable saying it. What this supposed old man, was he an older man? Supposedly said to these guys. Amtrak employees supposedly came to address the situation. Pierce took his children, not his, to a different car. Broverman remained behind to discuss the situation with Amtrak personnel. Train's conductor demanded the unnamed man leave the train, but he refused. He said, "I'm not getting off. You're going to have to kill me before I get off the train." That's what Broverman claims that this guy said. It was very serious before and even more at that point. What a mess. The train was at the station for 40 minutes before police were able to escort the unnamed man off the train. Funny, huh? Anyway. Amtrak coming to the rescue, being white knighting. This Amtrak said in a statement that it strongly condemns this reprehensible act of hate. Excuse me. Conducting a full investigation on this incident. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, enough of that. Yikes, we're at 5 minutes till. Okay, let me get to LUKA in Indiana. Wants to talk about this so-called gay agenda. So-called gay. LUKA in Indiana, how are you doing?
Yeah, I know we don't got a lot of time.
True. Go for it.
So, yeah, I just think there's these satanic people who sit at the very top, and they're pushing this whole gay agenda. They're the same people who've been trying to do population control. They put the satanic tones and symbolism in all of their music and these Hollywood performances, halftime shows. They are the enemy of humanity. They need to be stopped.
Yeah.
Need to go with Christ.
Right. And you know, it's people serve the same Satan. The little people serve the same Satan as the people at the top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're just trying to turn humanity upside down, you know, gay, straight, white versus black.
And
everything sacred is evil.
Yeah, it's so true, man. And that's why we really got to check ourselves too, because many, even among Jesus's own disciples, were devils.
Yeah.
So
if you quiet down the thoughts, like Jesse Lee says, and you listen to that still voice of God within your heart, then you'll know what the truth is. They won't be able to lie to you anymore.
Nice. Well, I appreciate it, Luka. Nice to hear from you.
Shout out, Lord Bibby's got a new video coming up right after Hake.
Cool, man. Well, thank you, man. Take care.
And thanks, brother. Later.
All right, bye. He mentioned Lord Bibby. Thank you, Lord Bibby. He made a clip of my Ms. Parks interview. I added it and I shared it on the Hake Report. Let's see, the Hake Report YouTube channel. Hake's biggest fan, Ms. Parks, but he spelled Parks with an X instead of KS. Thank you, LORDbibby42. I appreciate that, man. I had mentioned, hey, you guys, if you guys want to cut clips, and he's cut some clips, and I happened to cross this one. Thank you, LORDbibby42. And thank you, too, to the Subscribe Star supporters as well as the Super Chatters, guys. Brandon M. says, by the way, based Amtrak rider. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy those lesbians drove off a cliff in a minivan full of black kids. They were Black Lives Matter supporters. One of them was in a viral photograph hugging a fat white cop in like Ferguson, Missouri. These people weren't even from Ferguson. They traveled to Ferguson, misguided lesbians, liberal lesbians taking their black kids. Reminds me of, what's her name? She's like, she has 3 names, but it's really only 2. She's on the Supreme Court. Trump's last nominee, the woman. She had black kids, adopted black kids. And she's all, yeah, ACB, Amy Barrett. Amy Coney Barrett. Coney's her maiden name. Ridiculous. She felt so sorry for her Haitian children because Georgia, Florida had the knee on his neck, supposedly. Give me a break. Brandon M. says, I hope that guy was wearing a Burger King crown. Remember that Burger King crown wearing guy who was in like some island nation saying, N-word bit. Oh, sorry. Anyway. What a mess, huh? Brandon M. also says about, arts, stutter or whatever it is, you don't realize what you do until someone points it out. Yeah, sometimes that is true and helpful. People can, a good friend, true friend, stab you in the front. Cool. So wrong. Let me quickly get to Denise in New Jersey. I'm going to have to put off this story about Libs of TikTok getting doxxed till tomorrow. Denise in New Jersey, how are you doing? We got 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute and do your own studies. I said Putin, the old one, he was a commie, whatever you want to call him, but he's gone. That's why Trump was trying. He got along with him, but he can't explain all of this probably. I can't trust the media, so you know nothing about the media. Biden is dead. This is the second Biden, and Obama and his family has been taken out, the girls, everything, because we are fighting the deep state, and they're almost out. But everything has to be done. Have you heard of Q? I don't know if this is Q, but you got to go to the underground news. The underground news was on, and then COVID came, and I didn't see them again.
Huh.
The underground news comes on over the YouTube stuff. and it shows, like, I'm a Christian, it shows the white horse or whatever, and they give you an update on what's going on. And it is going slow because it's been 3 years since this other stuff, but it is going slow, but they can't just pull them out. And I'm sure Trump couldn't explain all this to the people, the idiots. They're not going to be able to see this.
Well, thank you, Denise. I appreciate it. It's good to hear from you.
Just do your studies, and God is in control, and things are moving.
Okay.
So,
well, take care.
Okay. You
Call
too,
me
dear.
again
Thanks
sometime
for
if you
listening.
can.
I will.
All right.
Have a blessed day, dear. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. What a sweet lady. Right? Thank you, guys. We are over time. This has been the Hake Report. Do your own research, right? Okay. Catch you tomorrow, hopefully. And take care.